After months of waiting, the Nintendo Switch 2 presentation has finally been released for all of us to enjoy. They forgot the 3D Mario. Okay, while I may have been a bit sad about that, one thing that certainly didn't disappoint was the full reveal of Mario Kart World. This looks like it's going to be an absolutely massive game with so many new features from the Mario Kart series. We can ride on walls, free roam around the world, use new items, and so much more. But out of all the things they showed, one aspect of the game that has easily been talked about the most is the price. But if there was a secondary topic people have been talking about, it's the absurd character roster this game seems to have. Not only does it already have the most confirmed characters out of any Mario Kart game, the character picks this time around are insane. Like, they make Honey Queen look normal. So today, I thought it'd be fun to take a look at all of the characters we've seen confirmed so far, because most of them are pretty easy to miss in the trailers. Obviously, news is still coming out about this game as I speak, so it's very likely that more and more characters are going to get shown off. On top of what we do see though, I also want to talk about the characters from the previous Mario Kart games that haven't been shown yet, and give my opinion on if they'll return or not. So with that being said, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let's jump right in. To kick us off, I'm just going to quickly run through all of the characters that have been in previous Mario Kart games that are confirmed for this one. According to the wiki, we got 30 characters making their return here. Obviously, we've got the mainstays of Mario, Luigi, Peach, Bowser, Yoshi, and Toad. They've been playable in every mainline Mario Kart, so they had to be here. It's also worth noting though that each of them are shown with quite a few different costumes. This is a feature carried over from Tour that I'm super excited to see come back, even if you guys hated my opinions on them. I'm not going to cover every costume in this video, but I do want to note that it looks like we can select them at any time. We just need to unlock the costume from eating food first. And also for some reason they take up a slot on the character select instead of being in a mini menu like an 8 Deluxe. That looks kinda ugly, I hope they change that. Anyway, continuing from there, our other big characters include Donkey Kong, Daisy, Wario, Waluigi, Koopa, Rosalina, Toadette, Baby Mario, Baby Luigi, Baby Peach, Baby Daisy, Bowser Jr., Lakitu, King Boo, Shy Guy, Birdo, and Wiggler. All of those characters have appeared in multiple titles, so they were fairly safe bets to return. As for the only new Mario Kart 8 character to return, we have... That's not the end of our returning characters though, as we also got a few coming from Mario Kart Tour. I was really happy to see a lot of these because I think they're pretty neat. First up, we have the only one to also be an 8 Deluxe, Pauline. Obviously with Mario Odyssey being my favorite game ever, I'm happy to see her come back. Look, she even does a little dance move from Odyssey. As for the other 4 that didn't make it to 8 Deluxe, we've got a few classic enemies. Hammer Bro is great to see, being a staple of the mainline series since the very first entry. He's a great inclusion here, especially since the Hammer item from Mario Kart Tour is actually being added as well. I also hope we get to see the Fire Bro, Boomerang Bro, and Ice Bro costumes return from Tour since they're a perfect fit. Charge and Chuck is also a great character to see, much less of a staple than Hammer Bro, but still a pretty cool guy regardless. Same goes with Monty Mole, who is also shown off here. And the final Tour character making its way to a real entry is Nabbit. I've always been a Nabbit fan, and I'm happy he's managed to survive past the new Super era. He still feels like such a weird, out-of-place guy despite being in several games at this point. You gotta love Nabbit. Now that would have been all the returning characters, however, Nintendo thankfully released an overview trailer to show that yes, Drybones is in, thank god. I'm pretty sure he was the last returning character shown, and I was going insane watching the direct and not seeing him. I don't want to see the man I would have become if he wasn't in. But it's okay, he's here! Overall, a very solid amount of characters returning, and for most people, a lot of these tour guys are new as well. But there are also plenty of actual new characters, people that have never even been in Tour before. This is where the roster truly gets bizarre, but in the best way possible. We're going to go through these guys a little bit slower since I obviously have a lot more to say about a new character. As of now, we've got 20 that have been spotted in the trailers, which is the most new characters out of any Mario Kart entry. We start out immediately with the wacky one being the... Obviously, this guy is iconic enough to be here. He's the first enemy in a majority of Mario games. What makes him weird is the fact that he doesn't have any arms. How can he drive? That's not very realistic. Listen, it gets worse. I remember people being mad about the babies being able to drive, so this roster is even funnier to me. Goomba has been in games like Mario Sluggers that would normally require arms before, so honestly, it's been a long time coming for him to join Mario Kart. But he certainly opened the floodgates. Before we get to the real wacky guys though, let's look at more normal characters added. The most normal guy here is probably Spike. He's been appearing quite often in spin-offs lately, especially the Mario Party franchise. Of all the new characters, he's probably the least surprising, and I think he's a great choice. That's the end of the ones I'd call normal. Yeah, let's just jump into the wackiness. There's a penguin sitting in this cart. This style of penguin has been a staple of the Mario series since Mario 64, even getting to appear in the Mario movie. Still though, it's incredibly surprising that they're actually on the roster now, but hey, penguins are cool, so I like the addition. Another famous character hailing from 3D Mario are the Piantas. I genuinely wasn't expecting to see them again since they haven't really shown up much past the Wii. Obviously their main game was Mario Sunshine, but they have appeared in the background of the Mario Kart series a decent amount. I hope their addition here means that Delfino Square is making a return as a track, because it's one of my favorites from DS. You know what, just to keep the Sunshine train going here, we also got a Cataquack as a playable character. This was a shocking reveal. He's not been seen in ages and isn't even particularly iconic like the Piantas are. I mean, I love them and how they just throw you into the sky, but I'm just flabbergasted that they're even here. It appears that Peach Beach is making a return, which was the track these guys were a part of, so I guess it does make sense. It's really cool that they're going for some more obscure Mario enemies for the roster here. Cataquacks are far from the only enemies shown here though, as a majority of new characters come from Bowser's army. Piranha Plant is another great example of this, and I think he's a great choice. He was the only Mario character in Smash to not ever be playable in Mario Kart up until this point. Even Dr. Mario appeared in Tour. I do wonder if that means the Piranha Plant item is gone though, since I haven't seen it in any of the trailers or the Treehouse gameplay. Guess that means I can't send people to prison anymore. Wait, I don't think we've seen Battle Mode yet. The last time they waited to show Battle Mode, it was... Rocky Wrench is also here! He was likely added because my beloved Airship Fortress is finally back. The track looks absolutely phenomenal by the way, but that's not what this video is about. If Monty Mola's in, I don't see a reason why Rocky Wrench couldn't join in either. Another pretty popular Mario enemy to join the roster is Cheep Cheep. This one is surprising because, you know, fish! I don't know how this guy is even breathing, but I'm happy he was able to figure it out to join the race. I'm also not sure if underwater driving is in this game or not. We saw Wario's Shipyard as a course, but so far everything has been on the water surface. It'd be really funny if they added him in, but banned him from driving in the water. Speaking of fish, we got another character in the form of Fishbones. While yes, he has appeared a decent amount throughout the series, this is still such a random pick. And also it contributed to my insanity because he was shown before Dry Bones. If just Fishbones was in the game, I think I would have snapped. But our final aquatic guy is probably my favorite of the bunch, being the dolphin. I've always been a fan of them ever since Mario World. Even if I'm not a huge Dolphin Shoals fan, that's certainly not the enemy's fault. And also Nintendo, I am begging you, make Dr. Dolphin a costume and my life is yours. On top of the water, the desert also got a few reps. The most iconic Mario desert enemy is of course the Pokey, and he is such a funny choice. Obviously he's another guy with no hands, but just seeing a cactus driving a car is so stupid. A much less iconic desert enemy is the Conch-Door, who's only appeared in Mario 3D World, and Captain Toad. I'd say this is an even more surprising inclusion due to the enemy being fairly forgettable all things considered. Still though, I'm happy it's here. Its long neck blocking the screen will be very funny. We've actually got quite a few 3D World/Land era enemies here. The Parabitty is here, who is honestly more iconic for being carved into a cart than being its own enemy. The Sting Bee looks very funny in the cart and is somehow our second bee to make it onto a Mario Kart roster. And of course, there's also the Peep. Of the bunch, this is probably the weirdest choice since we already have Ghost represented with King Boo, but hey, we could always use more dead people. This is why we need Freddy Fazbear. Another fairly well-known enemy are the Coin Coffers. I've always liked when these guys appear because I think their design is pretty cute, even if it is responsible for the worst moon in Mario Odyssey. The Sidestepper from Mario Bros also makes an appearance here, which funnily enough makes him one of the oldest characters on the entire roster. He doesn't really appear in mainline games, but he's been seen as an obstacle plenty of times in Mario Kart, so his inclusion is cool. Speaking of cool though, one of my favorite additions has to be the Snowman. This guy is barely even an enemy. Like, sure, he's sentient in Mario 64, but most times he's just a snowman. I think this is easily one of the funniest additions to the roster, and I really look forward to using him. Down to the final two new characters, we have one that the Odyssey Central community has been asking for ages. Pretty much every video, we get a comment asking for a new character to be added to the game. That character being Batman. They forgot the man part. Swoop is neat and appears often enough in the mainline series, so sure, one day Batman, I swear. But the final new character is definitely the one that took the internet by storm the most, that being the cow from Moo Moo Meadows. Nintendo knew people would love this guy as he's one of the few new characters that actually got a focus in the trailer. I am beyond happy to see them, and while I am sad they aren't called Moo Moos, this is one of the best additions to any Mario Kart roster ever. Such a bizarre choice, but one that any Mario Kart player is gonna recognize. The Moo Moo Meadows meme was an industry plant from Nintendo. I won't fall for their lies. So overall, the new characters for this game so far look incredible. They're stupid in the best way possible, and for once, I'm actually considering playing some other characters sometimes. I mean, 99% will still be Dry Bones, but I'll do one single race as the Snowman. I think for what we've seen so far, this is already the best Mario Kart roster the series has ever had. But that's not to say there aren't some disappointing aspects. Here's where we get to talk about all of the characters who didn't make it in yet. Think of this as a mini cut video where I talk about who isn't here and if I still think they have a good shot. Obviously we will have the Mario Kart Direct very soon, so I'm sure this will get outdated, but let's go game by game and see who's currently missing. As of now, there are 29 characters from the mainline Mario Kart games that have not been seen in World. First up from Super Mario Kart, we have Donkey Kong Jr. Considering the only games this guy was in was the first and Tour, chances aren't looking great. That's especially true because Donkey Kong is currently the only Kong in the game. They could be saving the rest of the DK crew for later, but I don't see Donkey Kong Jr. being added before Diddy or Funky. It's not impossible though, so I'll say C tier likelihood. Oh yeah, we're doing a tier list now. Skipping over 64 and Super Circuit since everyone is already in World, we can take a look at Double Dash. This has 3 characters missing, and the first of the bunch is extremely exciting. Paratroopa. Yeah, this guy didn't even appear in Tour because he's just a Koopa with wings. However, since World is all about costumes, why not make this a Koopa costume? I think that's at least a decent possibility, so you know what, I'll put him up in B tier. Diddy Kong is a weird one because he's somewhat separate from the mainline Mario series. I mean, sure, he got this monstrosity in Mario Odyssey, but that's about it. Heck, it's not even clear if he's going to be in Donkey Kong Bonanza yet. However, he is still an extremely popular character, and if any other Kong is going to be added, it'll be him. I have a feeling they might just be waiting to reveal all the Kong characters, so I'll put him up in A tier. As for our final Double Dash character, we have Petey Piranha. With how much Sunshine is being represented, plus there being a normal Piranha Plant on the roster, I'd be flabbergasted if Petey Piranha wasn't here. I'm putting him up in S tier, he's extremely popular. Jumping into DS, we only have one character being Rob. And you know what, while we're here, let's go ahead and talk about the rest of the non-Mario characters. Those are the Inkling from Splatoon, Villager and Isabelle from Animal Crossing, and Link from The Legend of Zelda. These are each really cool characters, and while there has been some controversy with their inclusion, I think they're neat. Honestly though, I could see it going either way on if they'll return. It makes sense for Nintendo to just focus on Mario characters in the first few trailers, but it also makes sense for Nintendo to just focus on Mario characters for the entire game. Genuinely, I think this is a 50-50, so I'll put them all up in B tier. Wait, no, Rob, get down from there, you're gonna hurt yourself. He's great, but not an icon like the other 4, so he can honestly sit in F tier. He's never shown up past DS, and I think that's gonna continue. I think I made him mad. Onto Mario Kart Wii, we've got 3 characters, and I think they're all pretty likely ones. First up is Funky Kong, who is an absolute fan favorite in the Mario Kart franchise. Sure, he's even less connected than Diddy Kong to the mainline series, but he's just awesome. Another A tier right next to Diddy. Dry Bowser, on the other hand, I would be shocked if he's not here. He's extremely popular, could possibly work as a Bowser costume if they really wanted, and Fishbones is here. Dry Bowser better be on the roster. Top of S tier so far. But that's not going to last for long because we have the Miis. They've been in every game since Wii and are a perfect way to let people make a custom character and even give them costumes. Yes, Miis have been becoming less prominent lately, but we know they're on the Switch too, so why not let them work in what's going to be its biggest game? I think this is an easy S tier lock-in. Mario Kart 7 had one of the series' weirdest rosters, but there are only 2 characters missing as of now. First up is Honey Queen, and I mean, does anyone care? You can get your B fix from Stingbee, okay? I don't need to open Mario Kart and go. There's so much. I think she's an easy F tier. Metal Mario, on the other hand, is a tricky one. Like I said, we've seen a lot of costumes in the game so far, but none based on power-ups just yet. Most seem to be original, with a few exceptions referencing Mario Odyssey. If we do get power-up costumes, then Metal Mario has to come back, but otherwise, I could see him being cut. I think it's more likely than not that he stays though, so I'll put him in B tier. And you know what, while we're here, Tanuki Mario, Cat Peach, and Pink Gold Peach all get the same spot. I do think Metal Mario is the most likely of the bunch, but I could see all 4 coming back. Maybe we could even get metal versions for more characters. The prophecies will come true. Alright, we've jumped around a little bit, so we've only got 9 more characters that are in A who are not in World. A majority of them are the 7 Koopalings: Lemmy, Larry, Wendy, Ludwig, Iggy, Roy, and Morton. Now, I know a lot of people don't really like the Koopalings, but you guys are haters, bring them back. I think most people, despite hating, do have a favorite Koopaling that they like. Heck, my dad's favorite character is Larry, and I know he'd be heartbroken if he got cut from the roster. But the fact that none of them have shown up yet besides some advertisements on the track is a little bit concerning. They could be doing the thing I suspect they're doing for the Kongs where they're waiting it out to reveal them later, but man, it's looking a bit grim. Still though, I think of the cut characters, they have a good chance. So I'll put them in A tier below the Kongs. Someone I don't think has a good chance though is Kamek. It sucks because he just got in after years of struggling in limbo, however, he appears to be doing something else in this game. We can see in the trailer that Kamek is now actually an item where he seems to spawn obstacles in front of the person who uses him. Cool idea and all, but it kinda sucks if it means Kamek is off the roster. It's not impossible that he could stay, but unless they do and everyone is here, I just don't see it. A painful F tier for this guy. Finally, for 8 Deluxe, we have Peachette. Technically another power-up costume, but she's weird because it's not of Peach, but instead Toadette. I don't think there's been any costumes that drastically change a character as much as this does, so I'm not sure if they will bother with Peachette this time. I'll put her at the top of C tier though, because it's definitely still possible. And the final game we have to look at is Tour with only 3 more characters. First up is Poochie from the Yoshi series. Normally I put him quite low, but Poochie did have a reasonable enough role in Mario Odyssey for him to be a mainline character. I mean, he probably showed up more than Contour did. Mario Kart World is taking a lot from Mario Odyssey too, so I think Poochie would be great to see. I'll put him up in B tier. Dixie Kong, being another Kong character, has obviously not been shown yet. Since she's only been in Tour, she's much less tied to the Mario Kart series than the others we haven't seen yet. However, she's certainly a more popular character than Donkey Kong Jr., so I think she places above him on the tier list, but only by a little bit. But for our final currently cut character, we have King Bob-omb. I'm actually pretty surprised we haven't seen him yet. Like, he's a character similar to Spike who's been showing up a lot more in Mario spin-offs. He doesn't have as many playable roles, but he's almost always been present somehow. He even got to show up in the movie. Okay, maybe that's why he's not not here. No, but seriously, King Bob-omb is a super iconic boss from Mario 64, and if a Cataquack can get in, I think King Bob-omb should show up. Him not being in a main Mario Kart console game yet is really the only thing holding him back, so I'm putting him up in B tier. And with that, the tier list is complete for all the characters that didn't show up in any of the world trailers yet. Oh my gosh, shut up. All of the Namco ones are in F tier. But anyways, that's it for this video. Are you mad at me for not putting Meowser on the tier list despite him obviously being a costume? Let me know in the comments. I am really looking forward to this game, so much so that I decided to write this entire script when I was planning on taking a small break week. Hopefully you all enjoyed this showcase, and I'll make sure to pin a comment that updates anytime a new character is shown. But before I go, I've got to make sure to thank my members, being The Chicken Man, Shrugface-Awoo, Maidzio2, Nuclear, Seth's Son Villano, Wyatt Derpy, Kid Trunks 15, Caddy Shroom, Miss Jadesalot, Draco Star, Enchanted Skull, Yanni the Duck, SMA, B Major 2003, Arson the Raboot, Sir Musty, Belandor, Puggles Are Fun, Trader Mo, Diluted Colors, Cinder CC, Jade Avery, Pronto Clone, Thicky Reiki, SJ100, Ungenio TM, CW McCain, Tibby, JubeTube Z, Tesseract, Mr. McMahon 5702, Hippopotamus, Jameson Pageson, Wilbert, Golden Sand 15, Z Frost, Duffy Ant, Justex, Concanut Keep, and Christian Flattery Sequel Edition. But anyways, dry bones for Smash, and I'll see you guys next time.